pray right now that you open the eyes of my brothers and sisters this morning. I thank you, Lord, that we are already anointed. We have been chosen according to your will and your purpose. Father, as we lay our hands on our brothers and sisters in the body, if there is someone here that has never accepted Christ, Father, I pray that you will move strongly and quickly upon their hearts to let them know, Lord, that tomorrow is not given unto them. I also pray, Father, that you will open the eyes of all of us. Reveal your Son to us like he's never been revealed before. Father, I lift up Nate Bratcher and lift up Charles Luck and all the ones that are not feeling well, struggling with some sickness and disease. I lift up Pastor Barnes, who's fighting for his life as well, Father. Thank you for seeing Irma Jean here this morning and Maple. And Father, we just thank you for life and life more abundantly. But today, God, let it be earmarked as a day that is special, that you visited us. And not only that you shall visit us, but you will reveal again your Son, as well as the purpose that you have for us and how we are to conquer. And help those that are struggling to become conquerors. Those that are bound by whatever, Father, open up our eyes that let us see that this is our purpose, is to help the captive be set free. Blind eyes spiritually, Father, may they be open. Their ears to your voice, may they be open. Feet that are walking crooked, may they be made straight. Tongues that are loose, may they be controlled. Thoughts that are wandering, may they be brought down into captivity. It is all because of you, Lord, not us, that we live and we move and we have our existence. We give praise for your word this morning, Father. In Jesus. Let's give it all. I want you to open your Bibles. This past Wednesday we started speaking about fasting in a whole different way than what many people have been taught before, and that's good, because I want you always to be able to come here, to learn. But as we found out, even though I told you Proverbs 25 verse 2, but I want us to go to quickly also. We're going to come back to 25 verse 2, but I want us to look at chapter 58 of Isaiah. Isaiah 58. And now, what God through Isaiah tells us is what not to fast for. You don't fast or abstain so that you can look smart. You don't fast for riches and glory. You don't fast for all of things like that. Right. You don't fast because you want to show somebody how intelligent you are, educated you are. God is not impressed with your intelligence. Now, in Isaiah 58, verse 2, we're speaking about fasting. Why should we fast? Why should we fast? Verse 2, it says, this is God. Now, what God is really doing is responding to the hearts of people that had no idea that God was listening to their hearts. Words that they were saying, and they really didn't have no idea that God was listening to the words in which they were saying, the conversation in which, they were having. Somehow or another, I guess they thought maybe that God could hear all the conversations at one time. And so what God is doing in the first 5-6 verses of chapter 58 is letting us know that he hears everything. So nothing get by him. And so he's kind of like giving a brief summary of what most of the people are saying in Israel. So in verse 2 it says, verse 1, he's telling Isaiah, cry aloud, shout, spare not, don't spare nobody. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their God. They ask of me the ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching to God. Wherefore have we fasted 6 days? That's what they're saying. Can you imagine that? Well, why are we fasting? And you don't see nothing. You're gracious of life. What they're really saying is, can't you see the situation we're in? And it looks like you don't see everything that's going on. Wherefore have we afflicted our souls, and thou takest no knowledge. In other words, I fast, but you're not paying attention. You don't know what's going on. Behold, in the day of your fast, you find pleasure in exact all your labors. Behold, you fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. In other words, you have the wrong motive for fasting. You should not fast as you do this day to make your voice to be heard on high. In other words, your self-centered reason for fasting won't be heard. It won't be answered. Because you have the wrong motive here. You have the wrong understanding. And so he says, now, is this such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man or a woman to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt I call this a fast and acceptable day to the Lord? Is not this a fast that I have chosen to loose? See, I'm going to give you the reason why that I'm not answering your prayers. Because all your fasting is about you. It ain't about nobody else. It's all about you. Is not this a fast that I have chosen to loose the bands of wickedness? How is it that the saved still think that they're bound? How can a blind man give sight to another blind man? Is not this the fast that I have chosen to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, that you break every yoke? See, he's giving us a purpose. He's giving us an understanding of why we should fast. How many of you have ever been on a fast? Raise your hand. Anybody? Well, I don't know. Nobody ever told me how to fast. That first time I fasted, I said I'm going to fast for 2 weeks. Oh man, they say just don't eat nothing and just drink water. I said okay. Man, that first day, oh mercy Jesus. I can't tell you how many times. I ain't gonna lie to you. I drank water that first day because I just could not conceive of not drinking water. But that's what they told me. They said you don't eat anything and you just drink water. Well, that first day, Fred, I drank water. I knew I wasn't supposed to drink water, but my body said, "Oh yeah, you gonna drink some water." And what I realized, listen to me. What I realized was, listen to me very carefully. What I realized was my body was under control. I hear that. I sat there and I said to myself, Sarah, in the morning, everybody say in the morning, I'm going to do better. Everybody say do better. I drank water that next day too. And I said to myself that third morning, Sarah, in the morning, I'm going to do better. And now, what I decided to do for the eating, my mind told me, well, God won't, continue to eat a hamburger with French fries in my mouth. I ate straight up, man. I ate a hamburger the first day, second day, third day. and man, I'm strong. I wasn't thinking about the hamburger. I'm thinking about the water. See, I got all confused. But I knew that I wasn't supposed to be eating, and I knew I wasn't supposed to drink water. It was okay, but not the eating. But I excused myself with that hamburger. Pete's Hamburger got the best hamburgers in town. And them malls, they so thick, man, the straw just stick up. It don't go left, right, north, south, east, and west. It just stay like that. It's thick, man. You freeze your brain when you're trying to suck up that ice cream through that straw. And I was enjoying it, but in the back of my mind, it was saying, man, you're not supposed to eat. But I was enjoying eating when I knew I should not be eating. The fourth thing, I started getting serious. So I said to myself, okay, what I'm just going to do, I'm going to drink water only when it's necessary. And I'm not going to eat no more hamburgers and French fries in the mall. Okay? I made it through that fourth day not eating the hamburger. But then I had like 2 little small cups of water. And you know how when you don't drink no water, your lips start turning white. Y'all don't act like y'all don't I'm just doing all this here now, so got some lip chap and put it on there like that. I mean, I was having a battle in my mind, and so lesson number 1, what fasting does is reveal to you whether you have discipline. That's what it does. It's a real simple thing. It teaches you. Am I right, Pastor? Am I right? Anybody knows? Anybody? Am I right? Anybody knows? Never been pastor. The first thing that you learn is that how undisciplined you are. Now, number 2, I realized that I did not know that I should fast for others rather than myself. Amen. Hello, you understand what I'm saying? Now let's read this. Let's read this. Now, he says, verse 6, is not this the fast that I have chosen? This is the kind of fast where I want you to go. To loose the bands of wickedness. How? Oh my God. He says, the first thing I want you to focus on is how I can use you to go and loose the bands of wickedness from other people. Amen. Amen. To undo the heavy burdens. And to what? Let the oppressed go free, that you break every... See, it's all about you. In the other words, what God is saying, I want to use you to do these things. Right. Don't worry about you. Right. See, your focus is up on you if all you're doing is fasting for intelligence and God prosperity and all that. Listen, you don't realize how equipped you are. But if we're self-centered, you won't see the bigger picture. Amen. So that 5th day, I started, you know what? After that 5th day, I only drank 1 glass of water, didn't eat nothing. And you know what was beginning to happen? I began or my body began to what? Submit. If you don't take control, if you understand what I'm saying, this is God's will. What God wants you to do, first of all, you see it with all of the apostles and the prophets and the patriarchs, okay, is discipline. How much discipline do we have? Really, I'm not trying to make nobody feel condemned, but I'm saying just how much conviction, how much discipline do we have? Just say, okay, I am not going to go to the mall for 1 month. All of a sudden you get all these thoughts. I am not going to go to the grocery store for 1 month. I am not going to use my cell phone for 1 week. See, we don't want to do nothing that would manifest truth, because we like what we're doing. We like being undisciplined and justify, because I got to use my cell phone. No, you don't. No, you don't. What were you doing before cell phones come here? Sherwood, Porter, 1-582-3863. That says 44928, my home phone number, my mom and my dad. I still remember it. But we don't have no more them kind of phones and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, discipline is something that we lack. But yet, that is what God requires. All of His apostles and prophets is discipline, especially from material things. And if you cannot overcome the fact that you can't eat for a whole day, you're in trouble. Because the enemy have that stronghold. And that is a stronghold that America has. If you go on a fast for other people, look what God will do for you. People say, well, God, I need to be healed first. Oh, who said that? Ask Job. Job said right, am I right or wrong? Job said right there, and you know what God told him? He said, I want you to pray for your 3 friends that were speaking dark words into your head, and when you pray for them, they're not going to heal you. So in other words, the key to being healed is doing it for somebody else first, and then God will do it for you. He said, what you do unto others shall be what? Done unto you. That's the key. Unlock your healing, unlock your deliverance. But it doesn't start here first, it starts with somebody else. Amen. So I'm going to declare fast for the whole church. You're not going to eat no neck bones, all of that kind of stuff. You're not going to use your cell phones. You're not going to go to the park. You're not going to. Everybody just going to. Look at everybody. Pastor, you can't tell us what you absolutely right. I can only tell myself. Y'all understand? I know you may not want to hear, but you know it's God-given truth. All of these men that we admire in the scripture were men of discipline. Even the women were women of what? Discipline. And he says what? Bring everything into captivity for the obedience of Jesus Christ. Am I right or wrong? That means not just your mind, but your body too. Because how can you go someplace? How can your mind go someplace without your body? See, the whole thing about the leader, I can go to my living room right now. I can. Right there in my mind, I can do it. But my body keeps me from actually going. So what I have to do, I mean, instantaneously, I am there in my kitchen, bedroom, wherever. I can see it right now. But the only reason why I'm not there is because I have to get in the truck and go back over there because I'm busy. All the reason. Am I right or wrong? You're going to get there sometime. You understand what I'm saying? But number one thing, God demands discipline. Watch this here. Verse 8. You see that? Verse 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring poor that are cast out of thy house? When thou seest the naked, and that thou coverest him, and that thou hide not thyself from thy own kinfolk? You know, we got kinfolk that we don't even want to talk to. I know where God going to use you, and you don't even want to talk to your kinfolk. Charity begins at home. All right. Then he said, now if you do these things, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth. Whoa, what did he say? Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and your health shall spring forth. See, and your health. Did y'all get that? And your health. Wait, did y'all get that? And your health. But you got to do it for somebody else before it becomes what? Your health. Isn't that right? And thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy what? Reward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. See, if you just do it for yourself, the Lord ain't going to do much for you. But he says what? You do unto others. So he said, then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and the darkness be as the noonday, and the Lord shall guide thee. Look at all of the benefits that you're going to receive if you fast for others to be set free. It's a reciprocal effect. Amen. All right. Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 2. Look at this. Look at this. This is another reason why we should fast. Proverbs 25 and 2. Many of you think, well, man, I've asked God, all the time, God. But you know what? Sometimes God desires for you to do more than just ask him. Look what he says. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 1. He says, these are also the Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied out. Look at verse 2. You may want to underline this here. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, or to conceal a thing. But the honor of kings, which are you and I, okay. But the honor of kings is what? To search it out. It's to search it out. Now, I'm going to give you a living illustration of this here. Turn with me. Okay. All right. Daniel chapter 9. Now, Jeremiah had prophesied before the Babylonians came. 40 years or 44 years Jeremiah prophesied and was trying to get Israel to repent of their sin. But Israel would not repent of their sin, so God allowed the Babylonians to come into Jerusalem and kill everybody, all the important people, and all the people that were small, the parent of these people. Right? And this is how Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego ended up in Babylon, is because the Chaldeans killed their mother and their father, all their kinfolk. And they were taken into captivity into Babylon. All right. Now, Jeremiah, in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, Jeremiah prophesied that God told him that Israel shall go into captivity for 70 years. Now, don't miss this. 70 years. And they remained in captivity for 70 years. And guess what? The 70th year, the Spirit of the Lord began to move upon the heart of Daniel. Daniel stayed there all the time. Okay? He stayed there all the time. But in order for him to understand the signs of the time, what did he do? What did he do? All right, let's read this here. In Daniel chapter 9, verse 1. It says, in the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in desolation of Jerusalem. Now watch this. And I said, did you see that? And I said, if you want God to reveal the thing that you have been contemplating for years, you're going to have to, number one, have discipline and commitment and determination to make a sacrifice for yourself to get the answer. Some things you're going to have to work for in the spirit to get. It's just not going to be dropped in your spirit. Why? Because there are demonic spirits that will keep those things, what? From you. How? By distraction. Did y'all hear what I just said here? He said, bring every thought into captivity. You know what? There are people who sit here right now and thinking about something else. Rather than what I'm saying. You know why? Because they don't have a disciplined mind. They're not able to bring every thought into captivity. That's what God is saying. You don't have it. You need it. I need your full concentration, and you don't have it, and you don't want it because you don't want to make a sacrifice. Right? Only those that are willing to be disciplined in the body will the mind begin, or the spirit begin to reveal secrets. Let's go back at that. Look at what he says. Verse 3. And I set my face unto the Lord God. I didn't go to the library. I didn't go to my friend. I didn't even go to my pastor. I went to seek. He said, what? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things what shall be what? Added unto you. Look unto the author and finisher of your faith. Your word is a lamp unto my feet, a light unto my path. If I hold your word, I hide your word in my heart, you will reveal. Yeah. But we want somebody to give it to us. But every apostle, every prophet, every patriarch set some time aside by which they say, buddy, you're going to come up on the discipline. Right. You're going to be subjective. Right. Speak to it. Speak. It's your body. If you know you're not eating right, speak to him. See, your mind, your spirit will tell you. Your spirit will tell you. But the battle is here in the mind. And that's the reason why most people are not able to accomplish the goal. It's because of the undisciplined. God, Jesus. We can come in a prayer group and we can start praying, and then the enemy starts sowing something in your mind while you're praying. You will be concentrating on this here, and you're thinking about that. You're thinking about work. You're thinking about work. And then what we come to do, why you can't do it? Because there's no discipline. And then we open our eyes like, oh yeah, we really prayed then. Didn't even hit the light. Look what he said. And I set my face up to the Lord God. See? To seek by prayer and supplication. The word supplication means to remind God of his promises. Yeah. God, you said that you are my deliverer, you are my healer, you are my redeemer. You are my wisdom, my knowledge, my understanding. You are my provider. You are my sustainer. No, something needs to put in there. Even your shortcomings, he already knows. Good God, mercy. And I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer, to seek. In other words, to investigate this he got, right? I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplication. With what? Fasting and sackcloth and ashes. Well, we don't do the sackcloth and ashes. In other words, they get and they dress and they get this. If you ever see, I don't have time to explain it, but we don't do the sackcloth and ashes. And then just throwing up dirt and putting stuff on your face and everything, and letting God see as well as other people see that you mean business. But the fact of it is, it's not the external thing. It's supposed to be. You don't have to go around and tell somebody that you're fasting. Stop all that. What are you looking for, glory? Huh? You want somebody to admire you because you. No. They say, oh, look, Pastor, your lips are white. You ain't got to go, oh, I'm fasting. Fasting for Jesus. I'm sure I have you look at people do that, man. I'd be thinking, what the hell are you doing? Just break it right there. Break it and go back in your blanket. And I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. Now look at this. And I prayed unto the Lord my God and made my confession and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep what his commandments. In other words, he's interceded in behalf of Israel and himself. Now, we don't have time to read it all, but go over there to verse 21. And he says, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, watch this now, being caused to fly swiftly. In other words, God said, go, Gabriel, go, Bubba, go down there. Daniel has got my attention. Isn't this something when God can tell an angel to go to that point because he got my attention? Woo! Lord have mercy. Blind Bartimaeus said, he wasn't even doing that. But he was calling out to Jesus, thou son of David, thou son of David. And then all of a sudden, Jesus stopped because he got God's attention. I'm going to tell you something. But sometimes you're going to have to press through. You're going to have to move forward into the spirit. If you want your relatives saved, if you want your family saved, if you want change on your job, if you want change in your ministry, you're going to have to press through. You're going to have to make some sacrifice. You're going to have to become more disciplined in your body and in your mind and in your thoughts and with your tongue and everything. Right. That's what's required. You can never hear God say to these men and women, you got to lose tongue. In verse 21, while I was yet speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, oh Daniel, I have now come to give thee what? Give thee what? Give me what? Yes. This is the only way. Proverbs 25 and 2. God will honor your search. God will honor your discipline. God will send angels. That's what he did in the Old Testament. But you know what? You don't have to send angels now. You got the Holy Spirit within you. For we have what? This treasure in earthen vessels, so that the excellency of his power what? May manifest on himself. This is what we're talking about. You want wisdom? Seek God for yourself. You want to turn this city around? The church. You want to turn this neighborhood around? The church. All he said is, see my people? that are called by my name. He seen nobody else. He said, "He's my people that are called by my name. Shall what? Humble and seek my face." That's what he's talking about. Are you willing to bring your body up under subjection? Paul said, bodily exercise profit little. It's the spirit. Doggone, how many more times is this demon going to just make my life miserable? And he will continue to do it until you get disciplined enough, you make it up in your mind, say, you know what, I'm going to go on a fast. I'm going to ask God how many days. And then you know what, I'm going to honor God in my fast. And you know what, I'm going to say, God, show me who you want me to minister to. You know my need. Show me who you want me to minister to. And when you do that, as you're fasting, your healing and your deliverance will come. That's what the word says. But you want yours first. No, it don't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I would love to be in prayer and fasting. And then God show up and he said, "Roy, I heard you." How many love to have God to visit you? Have mercy. Only if you're going to be consistent, that means that you're going to have to do what? Have to become consistent in seeking Him. And not worrying about food or water or something that your body needs. It's your spirit. Now I'm going to move on because I know, we can have just a little bit more time. Y'all being blessed by this? Amen. So in other words, in verse 22, he says, "O Daniel, I am now come to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of the supplication, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved." You see that? God, how many just love to hear God say, "Oh, Linda, I love you, daughter. I love you, Nora. I love you, Benay. I love you, Bunny. I love you, Ray. I love you, Fred. I love you, Shimmy. I love you, John." See, that's what, that should be my goal. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. But that should be my goal. It's to hear God tell me He loves me. Then when He tells me and you know what happened? When He tell me that, you know what? I'm going to do it again. Because I've got to take you to that love stuff. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? That will become your passion each and every day. From now on, I seek His face so that He say, "Son, I love you." And when Daddy say He loves you, oh, Lord, have mercy, Jesus. I'm not worried about my enemies. Because my dad is greater than my enemy. But what God is saying, I love you because now you have come to me, you have shown me that you're willing to make a sacrifice and become more disciplined in your body. I'm going to unlock the door for you. Can't go into all of it. Chapter 10 of Daniel. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belshazzar. And the thing was true. But the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. In those days, Daniel was mourning 3 full weeks. In other words, he was fasting. Woo, man. 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread. Donuts, bagels, light bread. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. My own mouth. He said, I'm not going to eat nothing. I'm not going to even anoint myself until 3 full weeks. Not water, nothing. I'm just going to do it. Now, can your body survive without drinking water? Listen. We're going to find out. Jesus is going to show us. Watch this. And in the 4th and 20th day of the 1st month, and I was by the side of the river, great river, which is called Hiddekel, Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. And his body also was like beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as the lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Not Daniel, not the people of God. We do not run from the presence of God. You ought to know when God is coming into your presence. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, for the great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone, and saw the great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength. In other words, his body just lost all his strength. He collapsed. Yet I heard the voice of the words, and when I heard the voice of the words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. And behold, a hand touched me. It wasn't touch me. Which set me up on my knees and up on the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, isn't that amazing how this man had been fasting for 3 weeks, no water, no food, no good bread, no nothing. He decided that he was not going to even anoint himself, because he would bring, listen to me, he would bring his body under subjection. What does that tell? God withholds the fullness of his revelation from those that are not disciplined. How bad do you want it? That's the question. You can't figure out why your husband doing this, you can't figure out why your wife, you can't figure out why your kid doing this, you can't figure out why the government. You know, that's the problem with the government right now. They don't even want to acknowledge God. So, you know, the demonic spirits are doing whatever they want to do. How about your family? Huh? How about you? I don't know. Verse 11, and he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. See, that's what I love about God. He tells you, get up, stand up. Stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. But, verse 18, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, the angels, came to help me, and see, that's spiritual warfare. Yeah. God heard you on the first day, but God's angel has to fight their way through the demonic kingdom in order to get the word to you. Hold on. It may take the last of the 30 days or the 15 days, but God is going to what? Make sure that he gives you the revelation, because he honors what you are doing. Matthew chapter 4. Matthew chapter 4. Are we there? All right. All right, here we go. Matthew chapter 4. Look at verse 16 of chapter 3 first. And Jesus, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him. And he saw the Spirit of God. How did he see that? And he was a man. How did he see it? And when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lighting upon him. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, God, isn't this incredible? And that, this is my son, in whom I am what? Well pleased. But how did he point out the son? You remember that dove that Noah let out the window that never comes back? He finally found a resting place. My oh my. Chapter 4, verse 1 of Matthew. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit, you see that, into the wilderness to be tempted. See? The Spirit, the word led in the Greek means force. In other words, God forced him. In other words, stand up. In other words, like Jesus just, he was being led by the Holy Spirit. And so this didn't happen. So the Spirit said, Jesus, come on. No, he didn't do it that way. No. What he did, he pushed him that way. He pushed him. In other words, he did that. Now listen to it very carefully. God would never, you have to ask yourself a question. God led Christ to be king. That's right. Thank you. God led Christ to be king. You know what I love about ducks? When they get ready to fly south, wherever they go, they always fly in a V shape. Yeah. You know why? Because the head man is the wind. Y'all understand what I just said? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Y'all get what I just said? Christ was the windbreaker on this one. So he was the one that was to be first. And God led him out into the wilderness to be confronted and tempted. Watch this. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. Wow, see, that's the difference in being tempted of your flesh. He said, save himself. And when he had fasted 40 days, I'm struggling with 2 weeks. Well, by the way, I did make it to my second week. And around about that 8 days when everything kicked in and there was no more fight. Oh, there was no more fight. I began to receive. Now let me say this here before I forget. When you fast and you get to a point to where God sees that the body has been subjected to the Spirit, that's when the truth, that's when the revelation. And once you grab hold of that revelation, he needs not to show you that again. Did y'all hear what I just said? No, y'all did. How many understood what I said? Randy, you understood what I just said? Y'all understood what I just said? Now, that's one part. But there may be other parts that need what? Revelation knowledge. So what do? I go back on the past. And I get that. It just depends on what you want. Now, after my 3rd time of fasting, God began to give me revelation or understanding about the scripture and about spiritual gifts, and I never struggle with those anymore. Because once he opened them up to you, well then you got it. Now, Christ is our job. I want you to watch this, because I'm not just saying it for myself, but I want you to see it for yourself. And see what did you really need. Ask yourself, man, have I been neglecting myself for spiritual truths that I could have had just by discipline? I know what time it is, just give me some time. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards and hungry. You mean he didn't get hungry until after 40 days? No. It just simply said that his hunger began to manifest only. Now watch this here. He was afterwards hungry, but there was a purpose for that hunger. Listen to me. There was a purpose for that hunger to manifest. You may miss this. Look at it. It says, and afterwards he was hungry. And when the tempter came. Now, at this time, Sister Cole, everything was in the spirit. This was not taking place physically. This is taking place what? Spiritually. That when there come a time around about the 8th or 9th or 10th day where spiritual things begin to happen and you begin to see them, you begin to experience them, you begin to recognize those things, and you be saying, good God, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Can't you see? See what? Now watch this. Satan was already there. Now you have to understand that Satan was not given permission to manifest while Christ was on the earth. Now God, Christ, made himself a body, and he came and he began to walk among his own, but Satan was not allowed to do it. Did y'all get that? Yeah. Why? Because it ain't about the flesh. You think it is. It ain't about the flesh. It's about the spirit. But the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God, what? To the pulling down of what? A stronghold. And Satan came. I have to come to it. I know I'm going. But Satan, what God did was lock Satan in the most deepest, infinite abyss of deception. He locked him in it, and he can't get out. Now here's a glimpse of this infinite abyss of deception that he was locked in. How is it that you come to tempt the God that created you? How is it that Jim Jones tempted those people or presented Kool-Aid to them and they knew that Sinai was the killer? How is it that they know that crack is a killer, but yet they say, it ain't going to bother me, not this time. Messing with Ouija boards and all that kind of thing. You stay away from that. Tarot cards and all that stuff. All it takes is just one time. That's what the enemy wants to do. He comes to steal, kill, and what? Destroy. But you know what? If you go on a fast regularly, God will open your eyes to spiritual things that you never even dreamt of before. That's what you're robbing yourself. Not that God is not robbing you. You're robbing yourself. You know, watch this. This didn't happen nothing. Look. And he says, look at this. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made into hope. Now, this is where most of humanity is. He didn't even say sir. He just said, okay, bread. Now, if you're undisciplined, you can say, yeah, I can do that tomorrow. Y'all can get it. If Christ would have responded the way that Satan wanted him to respond, it would be proof that Jesus wasn't God. But Jesus said to his food. Now, I'm going to give you the definition of a food so you don't think I'm terrible. A food is a person that has succumbed to an act of deception. That's what the word food means in the New Testament. So I'm not saying no curse word, because I'm what they're saying, that's the wrong curse word. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God. So he's using if like he did with Adam and Eve. Right. Sure. You're not going to die, right? If you eat just that fruit. You know. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever, right? So what God is, he came to do was to show us how to fight a spiritual war. Not according to physical tactics, guns, bullets, swords, but what? In the spirit realm. Because this is what Satan attacks you, Christian. He will make you think that you're something that you're not. All because you don't have a system to read and meditate and study and memorize the word. I'm sorry, but I don't mean to offend. But it is offensive for my brothers and sisters that have been in Christ for more than 5 years don't even know how to fight a spiritual war. I remember one time I was in this village, and the lady come up to me and she said, Pastor? I said, yes, sir. She said, can you help me? I said, yeah, you can. She said, the devil is all in my flesh. I said, flesh? Flesh? Well, that's how they say flesh, but I heard flesh. And she said, he's running up and down in my flesh. She said, will you pray that the devil will just come out of my flesh because I'm sick and tired? And I say, well, what are you praying? And she said, well, she said, this is her prayer. God, I lay myself down to sleep. I pray my soul with you. Now, what kind of spiritual warfare is that? And that's the way most Christians pray. They don't know how to use the sword, which is the word. Every one of you are going through some kind of spiritual warfare about, and it looks like that it's not, you're not winning the war, even though you know that God has called you a conqueror. Listen, there is an appointed time for you to come through it. But the one word that keeps resonating is discipline and subjection of the mind and the spirit. You cannot hear God clearly when a million things is going on in your mind. Am I making any sense? Let me look around and stop up. When the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God. So he's making him doubt who he really was. Command that these stones be what made bread. Now listen how Christ was showing them, number one, you don't have a stronghold in them. And number two, I know who you are. And number three, you can't do it. He answered and said, it is what? Written. Man, that includes women too. Man shall not live by Mrs. Bird's bread alone. Cornbread is good, but it ain't going to get you in the spirit. No. Am I making any sense, y'all? So now, wait a minute. So if Christ said, and he's fighting the battle for you, he's being tempted for you. Right. He's the windbreaker. That's right. He said, Roy, Sammy, everybody in the church, they're going to learn to not live by bread alone, but, everyone say but, by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. It ain't about the flesh, it's about the spirit. Amen. If you get the spirit discipline, the body will be subjected. It's really hard for me to stop. I know but the thing is, listen to me. If you don't get anything, if you haven't got anything out of this message, get this here. Secrets of your deliverance, your healing, your prosperity, your blessings, your positions come when you do it for somebody else. Number one. Second, God demands that his people be disciplined as he is disciplined. And number three, God would not withhold no secret from you if you practice standing in his presence. Am I making any sense? Am I making any sense? If there's something that you say, well, God, I've been asking God for years. You know why? Because you're not willing to do what you know that he has spoken to you to do, and that is to come before him with supplication and fasting. Right. I got trouble with my flesh. Well, go fast. Whatever it may be. It's just simply saying, you lack discipline.